Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Racing Debrief. And wow, that was a race that we seen. Obviously, um, that was definitely a race of all time, and I don't even know what to say, where to begin. Um, Richmond. When I was thinking of this video, three laps to go. I was thinking, we'll talk about the playoff implications, and we'll talk about some tires and things with that. But we have a lot of drama and controversy to talk about. But first, we will talk about the tires a little bit. Of course, NASCAR had the two different tire compounds. They were calling it the primary and option tires. Obviously, most people are calling it hard and soft tires. I think they don't want to sound like Formula One, but again, it's easier for fans to understand if you say it's a hard tire and a soft tire. But either way, that's what we saw. So I thought it was interesting. Teams had 8 tires total, 8 sets. You had 6 of the hard tires, 2 of the softer tire. Now, I honestly liked it. I thought it was cool. I hope that they kind of introduced that into more races. I don't know if there was like a requirement that you had to use both at any point. Kind of like Formula One has, where you have to use at least change the tire compound. I don't know if that was a requirement. It should have been if it's not, but we saw a lot of interesting things. That obviously, first stage, Daniel Suarez went from like 15th to the lead with the fact that he went and came in for those softer tires, drove through, won the stage when nobody else had switched to those tires. Still a little bit more of it in the second stage, but for some reason Suarez made it work the best. And we've seen it, a few more times. End of the second stage, whenever he pit, you had pretty much everybody on those tires, and then the few drivers that weren't were going way back. So definitely interesting to see that. And that was really most of the race. It wasn't the most exciting race. I think that's what we see with Richmond, is not the most action. That's really why it's probably going to lose a second race date in 2025. But yeah, I think Richmond doesn't provide the most action. I think that the next gen car obviously has a factor to do with that. I think that the next gen car continues to struggle at short tracks. I think we've seen a little bit more passing, and again, the tires helped. So I hope we see more of that. If nothing else, at short tracks, right? Let's see it at Bristol, Martinsville. Try it at some of the other smaller tracks that basically the car struggles at. Phoenix, Dover, New Hampshire, those types of places. Let's see it there. But again, I'd be cool with it. I think you do it everywhere besides like a super speedway, because it doesn't really matter at that track. But do it anywhere besides Daytona, Atlanta, Talladega. I'm good. I'm good with it. Let's see it. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. I think we got a real good gauge on it. We didn't really get that at North Wilkesboro. But I think in an actual race, we got to see it, and I think it went pretty well. As for the end of the race, what did we see? So we saw Austin Dillon drive to the front. Now, he raced pretty well throughout the day. He qualified well. He qualified in, I believe, 6th place. And he pretty much hung out in the top 10 the whole day. Come down after the last 2 pit stops. He was the fastest car. He went to the lead, passed Denny Hamlin, stayed on an extra lap. Second pit stop, came back in, fell back behind Denny Hamlin, and then he got back by him with a few laps left in the race. And there was about 20. He was back in the lead and was like, okay, Austin Dillon's going to win. He's going to make the playoffs. That's going to really shake some things up. We've seen a lot of issues for playoff drivers, or drivers trying to get into the playoffs. Martin Truex had an engine failure. Ty Gibbs was nowhere to be found all race, which was very disappointing. And then you had Chris Buescher and Ross Chastain. They were kind of chilling, doing their thing. Bubba Wallace was kind of just there. He wasn't really anywhere far out, but he didn't have a bad day. But he was racing, right? Him, Chastain, Buescher, they were kind of just doing their thing. Buescher had a little bit of a pit issue, but Chastain, about top 10. Bubba Wallace was, I think, third or fourth at the end of the race, but he was, top 10 throughout the day, but neither one of those names really popped out. So, again, nobody in the playoffs really was super impressive, or on the playoff bubble was super impressive, I guess. It was just a decent day. But, Austin Dillon going out winning, it was going to be one of those things like, okay, he's going to get in. That's annoying. Obviously, seeing a guy in 32nd make the playoffs is always obnoxious. I think that's one of the dumbest things with the playoffs is that you can just be irrelevant the entire season and have one race with a fast car and make the playoffs. I think that's an issue. And we see it almost every single year where, especially in the Cup Series, one team who's irrelevant pops off and wins. And a lot of times it does tend to be Austin Dillon. He crashes away to a victory. Pretty much every other year, he does it. 2024, 2022, 2020, 2018, like those years are the years that he's won races. And he's made the playoffs and been irrelevant because you win one race and you're not really competitive. So it is unfortunate to see that. Again, especially now where they've even changed it more, where before you had to be at least top 30 in points with a win. Now it's just win wherever. So he's 32nd out of 34 guys who are full-time, right? You have a colleague with a charter car and Rick Ware Racing with a charter car that don't have full-time drivers. So there's 34 full-time drivers. Austin Dillon was 32nd in points. So that's insane. Either way, you win, you make the playoffs. So caution comes out late. Ricky Stenhouse, it looked like to me he got a little wheel hop in the corner, locked it up. Yeah, took out Ryan Preece. Only caution of the whole race. Comes out with 2 laps to go, 3 laps to go, whatever. We're going to overtime. Austin Dillon picks the inside, after all the pit stops. Joey Logano picks the high side. Okay. And this is the only time I'm ever rooting for Joey Logano to win a race because, I want to see Ty Gibbs make the playoffs. Obviously, my favorite driver. My dad's favorite driver is Ross Chastain. So, I want to see Ross Chastain make the playoffs as well. Give my dad a reason to actually care about watching racing in the last 10 weeks. Something like that. It's obviously, my house, we want to see everybody's favorite driver win, make the playoffs. So, we got that with my mom's favorite driver. We're good. Kyle Larson's in solidly. It's getting to see Ty Gibbs and Ross Chastain make the playoffs. So, obviously I didn't want to see a new driver. I don't want Ty Gibbs to go down the list. I don't want Ross Chastain out of the playoffs. So, I was good with a Joey Logano win, honestly. But, much as I hate to say it, I was good with a Joey Logano win on this occasion. So, Joey Logano picks the high side, and I was like, all right, cool. We're going to see Joey Logano win, whatever. We'll take it. 1 lap to go, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, if he gets any chance, he can do just a racing video game bullshit and punt somebody into a corner. Sure enough, 5 seconds later, he sends it into the corner. Austin Dillon does. Punts Joey Logano completely out of the way. Comes down the track. Hooks Denny Hamlin. And wins the race. So, I think Austin Dillon went from a, win to, 5 minutes before that a win that people were like, okay, cool, he got a win. We're glad to see it, I guess. But to absolutely, you're a bum, complete idiot. Whatever Joe Logano was saying. I know there's some quotes of what he said on here. I know I just liked it a minute ago. He's a piece of crap. He sucks. He sucked his whole career. That's one of Joe Logano's quotes. So, again, Joe Logano was definitely frustrated with it. Denny Hamlin was also frustrated with it, but he took a more calm approach to it. Joe Logano was not happy when NBC put that microphone in front of him and in the press conferences after. So, or the press interviewing him after. I guess Joe Logano, Denny Hamlin, they had to go to the NASCAR hauler. I don't really know why they did. I know that NASCAR probably isn't too happy with the comments that they said about the sport, with the officiating and things like that would hurt the integrity of the sport. But I think the way that they do officiate races does hurt the integrity of the sport, right? I don't want to sit here and be the guy that's, gonna talk shit, right? Because I want the sport to succeed. It's my favorite series, and I want there to be reasons to encourage other people to come watch, right? I want to sit here when we do this series and have a positive discussion, right? I don't think we should just necessarily have to, talk shit about a race win and officiating. That's not a good look. But when you come back after 2 weeks off and your first headline, right? We had the Olympics for 2 weeks, so there was no racing. Your first headline is, the way your driver races is unfortunate, and other drivers saying about the officiating, because nobody seemed happy. Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, they weren't happy about it. They were right behind the incident happening, and I haven't got to see any other things. So I went and hopped right into recording another video, but nobody seemed thrilled by it besides Austin Dillon, and his grandfather on the radio was excited about it, and that is a thing, right? And when you go on to a team radio and they say go wreck him, which that's what I've been seeing some of the stuff, commentary from the radios is to go wreck somebody. That's not a good look. I think we will see penalties. Do I think they take away his win? Probably not, but I do think there's a penalty of some sort coming for him and his team. I don't think that NASCAR is going to look at it and not do anything. Again, I don't think they take away the win, but I think that they do something with the fact of the intent to wreck somebody is broadcasted on the radio. That's typically what the main issue they have is. I think it's a thin line between penalizing drivers. I don't want it to be a Formula One style thing, because Formula One's obnoxious with the penalties, where if you get near somebody, it's a penalty. If you breathe on another driver, it's a penalty. I think that's ridiculous. Obviously, NASCAR, there's a little bit of contact. I think that it's an egregious move, though, when you come back from, 5 car lengths and punt somebody. I think that's the difference. I'm good if he just bumps Joe Logano out the way. Brilliant move. I think when you come back from that far back, 5 car lengths, I don't know why I said 15, 5 car lengths back to punt somebody, that's some video game type shit. That's something that you would see on the clips that we put on YouTube as a short, or on X as highlights from the Race Playlist or Racing Masters or Versus Challenge, right? The series that we do. That's a clip that we would put and say, this dude's a bum, because somebody's going to come punt somebody from, 5 car lengths back. I think that that's the issue. And then to take Denny Hamlin out on top of it, I think is just a ridiculous move. I think that that's where there's a problem, and that's where you got to draw the line at what he did and how he did it, I think is the issue. If you want to, on its own, I think push somebody out the way in a corner, brilliant. You love to see it bump around to win a race. Fantastic. Highlight of the year. You want to make contact crossing the line, brilliant. We saw that with the ARCA race in the week off. That was at Elko, something like that. All the lightning in the background, brilliant. I did watch that because there was no racing on it. I kind of wanted to watch racing. Something like that, though. Brilliant. Crossing the line, they're all hitting each other. That's the type of finish you want to see. That's the type that's okay, this is awesome. Punting somebody into a corner, it makes a ridiculous moment, and I'm not going to lie, I did think it was funny initially the first second I seen it. I was like, oh my god. I think I tweeted that. What did I tweet? I said, what a finish, oh my god. Wrecking Logano and Hamlin for a win is definitely a move. I'm going to stick with that. I think that's a crazy play. Again, those are drivers I don't think you want to get mad at you. But yeah, I'm just rewatching it here. Oh my god. That is ridiculous. Because he just went from so far back just to spin out Joey Logano, hook Denny Hamlin into the wall. Um, that's just ridiculous. I think that NASCAR, though, a lot of their times they're going for views. And at the time I'm recording this at 12:03 in the morning, I'm recording this video. It has 412,000 views on X. That is the type of thing that they're looking for. And a clip of Joey Logano, 418,000 views. That's the thing that NASCAR is looking at. I mean, the post that says Austin Dillon makes the playoffs has 500,000 views. Like, that is the type of thing that they're trying to do and, get that engagement, right? That's what they're here for. It seems like NASCAR's looking for what numbers can you pull in. And again, when you get 500,000 views on a race finish, that seems to be what NASCAR is looking for. Yeah. Again, I think that seeing good drivers potentially out of the playoffs is really an issue. I think that this only adds to the continued list of frustrations with the playoffs. When you got a guy punt somebody to make the playoffs that's 32nd in points. I think really shows the issue with this format. Again, there's so many moments you can look at the format. That's an issue. You can talk to any Jeff Gordon fan. They'll give you a list of issues with the formats of the playoffs and the chase throughout the years. But I think that this format, the playoff elimination when you're in, has done more harm than the chase ever did, right? And when I'm talking playoffs, I'm talking chase 2014 to now, right? Obviously, it changed its name in 2017. But the original playoff year, the elimination rounds, did so much harm to, who wins the championship? I mean, Ryan Blaney's the champion. Like, come on. Ryan Blaney's the champion, really? But, the first year that really showed an issue with it was Kyle Busch winning the championship with a broken leg and missing half the season, right? That's the first real issue. And, throughout the years, you had other years that showed it, right? 2016, should Jimmy Johnson have won that championship? Absolutely not. 2018, should Joey Logano have won a championship? No. 2020, Kevin Harvick had one of the most dominant seasons that we've seen in a real long time. 9 wins. That one really hurt me the most as a Kevin Harvick fan. All-time favorite driver, not even making the championship 4 in 2020. That one really hurt. But again, the playoffs consistently prove to be just a mess, right? Every single year you get some guy who backs into a win, punts somebody out the way to win, wins because everybody crashes into a pile at Daytona. Like, every year we just see consistently some shit show why the playoffs shouldn't be a thing. And you have drivers, Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain, Chris Buescher, all those drivers are more deserving of making the playoffs. They're more deserving of that spot. Right? They've raced consistently. If we're doing playoffs, which again we shouldn't, it should just be whoever has the best season. But yeah, if we're doing that, win and you're in. just seems so ridiculous to me to, sit here and say Austin Dillon, who's been nowhere all season, completely irrelevant, completely irrelevant, 32nd in points, wins a race, and now has the same opportunity to win a championship as somebody like Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson, who have dominated the season, right? And has a better opportunity now to go chase a championship than somebody like Ross Chastain, who's been consistent enough to put himself in, whatever spot he is technically in points. And again, you see it a few weeks ago, we had Austin Cindric win, right? Austin Cindric was a little bit below. I think he's about 20th. Jump his way in. He's going to take a spot. So somebody, Bubba Wallace, right? Bubba Wallace, Ty Gibbs, Ross Chastain, Chris Buescher. One of those drivers is missing the playoffs, right? More likely Chastain, Buescher, and Wallace, but Ty Gibbs is only ahead by, 15 points. I'm not going to put Truex in that category because it's going to be hard for him to lose 80 points, but again, he did lose about 30, so he could, but I don't think he's going to get last in the next 3 races. So, there's 4 drivers that are way more deserving of a spot than Austin Dillon. It's just quite ridiculous to say he even has a shot at a championship, but he's in the playoffs, so there's that. I don't even know what else to say. Today's been a ridiculous day of racing. What a way to come back from the Olympics. 3 more races made the playoffs: Michigan, Daytona, Darlington. When you're in, somebody's got a shot to win their way into the playoffs. Actually, I was wrong when I said about Chastain and Buescher, one of them's going to miss. Or Ty Gibbs, Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, Chris Buescher. There's 2 spots for those 4 drivers. Because there's only 3 races left. There's 3 spots available. So Truex could miss 2 of those 3 new winners, but most likely Truex gets in on points. But yeah, either way, thank you for watching. We'll be back next week. We have Xfinity and Cup at Michigan. Not sure how much of a Michigan review we're going to get for Xfinity. I'm going to be working that day. Haven't had a day to work on a Saturday, but they added me because some bum took the day off. Oh yeah, right here. Plus 19 positions Austin Dillon made up today. Wow. Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.